Welcome to Writers and Politics. We have today with us a writer whom many of you might know as Congress spokesperson. Sanjay, welcome to the show.
Pleasure, thank you.
Sanjay has written a book previously on cricket, right? And a lot of people would think that he's just a congressman, but tell us a bit about your link with cricket. What's your background? Before I tell why you are here, what's the book?
Well, I'll tell you what, always loved cricket. We all grew up passionate, mad, intensely crazy about the game. And don't forget that, generation I grew up in, my dear friend Kunal, we used to hear only the commentary on the radio. So when the internet boom happened in 2000, and I was frankly getting very bored of my banking job. And I want to go on record on Tehelka television to tell you that it was not a good feeling to be overpaid and underworked.
Wow.
Now see what a confession I'm making. But because the fact is that I wasn't enjoying it. And the internet boom came with an opportunity to try out something that you liked. And you remember that was a mad phase. You also dreamt of suddenly becoming, a Bill Gates or a Jeff Bezos. So I can't deny that, we secretly had these.
But you did. Afterwards, you did.
No. 1 minute. We had these very big billion-dollar dreams, and so some wise guy came and funded us a fairly obscene amount of money, and said, if you love cricket and that's your passion, and if you can create something unique, go ahead. So that's how Cricket Next was born, cricketnext.com.
And then, of course, you wrote a book on cricket, which I think came out last year.
Yeah,
year before that.
A couple of years, 2010 to be honest. And I'm delighted with that book. I actually am looking at whether I'm going to use tehelkatv to tell you that I'm likely to pursue. No, I might want to do a republishing of that book, because while my first publisher was a very decent, very caring, sensitive guys, but
he didn't pay you enough.
No, I don't think they sold it enough.
Okay.
And honestly, Kunal, I want to be slightly cocky here, or maybe slightly arrogant, but everything I said in that book came true exactly a year later with the whole IPL tamasha. And it was inevitable. I was amongst the first few guys, I feel very proud of it, to warn people that IPL was, going to be a disaster.
We're going to talk about IPL, but let's first talk about your new book. So it's called Superstar Syndrome, The Making of a Champion. You've co-written with Dr. Myra White and
Myra White.
Myra White. I'm sorry for the mispronunciation. So how does this book come? I mean, it almost sounds like a very Dale Carnegie type.
Well, a lot of people who heard the Superstar Syndrome, they thought it was going to be a thriller. A superstar who gets murdered in the dark of the night after returning from an opera.
The content says, know yourself, know where you're going, know how. All the 9 steps are know how. So I said, this is Dale Carnegie. I remember my commerce teachers used to force us read similar books when we were in +2. So how come? Is it extension of what you're doing at Dale Carnegie?
If you look at India today, you ask anybody who's your role model, and 99% of the people will tell you Sachin Tendulkar. There is, and Tendulkar deserves every bit of it. I believe that even more so since he's become a Rajya Sabha MP. But seriously, Tendulkar is the one, without any debate or ambiguity, the India's unanimous choice. The icon. You might include Dhoni.
Do you want him to retire?
Dhoni in it. Well, we'll have to do a separate show for that. But the truth be said, there is no denying that we need role models in this country. Some people will say Shah Rukh Khan, some people will say Amir, Amitabh Bachchan, Abhinav Bindra, etc. But in India, we struggle. If you look at the
role model in politics.
I'll tell you what. I actually had a couple of people in mind, but I chose not to because I said people will see it as some kind of a bias because now I am an official spokesperson for the Congress party. But I did believe that amongst contemporary politicians, I think Mrs. Sonia Gandhi definitely is amazing.
Sanjay, you know what the situation of cricket is at the moment, IPL and all the mess. We know there's a court case going on. Not just cricket, sports at large has a problem because there's threat of various bodies being recognized, Olympic Association threatening and blah blah. Why? I mean, I think Congress Party did try in last 10 years to clean it up. I mean, we did see Manishankar Iyer trying to do stuff. Then we had a very young and dynamic
Ajay Makan
trying to do a lot. And even now, we have another dynamic minister who is trying to do
Jitendra Singh.
Jitendra Singh.
Yeah.
But yet, there is some sort of a problem, isn't it? Why can't we clean up sports in this country? I mean, whether it's cricket or any other.
I think Ajay Makan moved the National Sports Development Bill. Jitendra Singh is trying very hard to take on these, federations where a lot of political leaders across political parties seem to have a stranglehold. Now,
including a very important ally.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And you know that on I'm such a sports lover that at this point, absolutely. I mean, I do believe that politicians have a right in a democracy to fight for leading a body, but you should have your limitations. You can't have an unlimited kind of a tenure, and if you are there, bring a difference to the game. Make a contribution. And end of day, a politician should look at the game and think of the sports people who are going to make that their career instead of you making it your own and dominating it and having your photo ops or power to appoint positions.
Almost like a professional.
To your favorites or travel abroad and all that kind of stuff. I think we need to get over this very feudal mindset on sports. True. I mean, I don't like the IPL, but I'm happy that IPL in its own way, minus the corruption part of it, whatever's left, has at least managed to attract global superstars into India, and for 7 weeks, everybody in India seems to enjoy the game. Now, end of day, all sports, I'm happy to see Indian Badminton League do well. So, India needs to innovate. I think private enterprise needs to play a much bigger role. But most important of all, I'm not talking about private capital. I'm talking about private enterprise of sports professionals should lead the sports forward. I feel very disappointed, for example, and I know he's not going to like hearing this, but Sunil Gavaskar, one of the greatest cricketers India has ever produced, hasn't got his hands dirty with the administration of the game. He still sits on the outside, gives very, luminous commentary, blah, blah, blah. But cricketers need to take an interest in administration, something like an Anil Kumble or Srinath, etc. are doing in Karnataka. So I think in every sport,
you need to,
like the way Gopi Chand is, actually mentoring people. I believe that, cricketers like Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, Lakshman, and one day Tendulkar should mentor the younger players. Virat Kohli, etc. They are superstars of the future. He's already doing well. But what about the many others who struggle? Imagine if you had Gavaskar mentoring you, Dravid mentoring you. This is the age when youngsters are so easily diverted in attention thanks to the multiple opportunities for growth. But money can also become, it can boomerang on you. Yeah, but if you have somebody who keeps you grounded, advises you, nothing is binding, there's no legal agreement, nothing is obligatory. But the fact that you know that there is somebody who's been there, done it, is somewhere guiding you along, I think could make a big difference.
Any leader in the opposition outside Congress that you really think is a role model? Let's be apolitical for a moment.
Well, let me tell you, I'll have to spend a couple of years on research to come back with an answer to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Sanjay, come on. Would you have said that if you were not the Congress spokesperson?
Well, I'll be very honest. I mean, when I was writing this book...
let's say 5 years before. You said in the last 5 years. Was Vajpayee a role model?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I think Vajpayee is the most overrated politician in India. Let me repeat that, in case you didn't hear it, although you're at short distance. He is the most overrated politician in India. Let me tell you, for Gujarat 2002 that happened, that we talk about so often, how can the Prime Minister of India, who was sitting in Delhi, be absolved of that responsibility? Just because he utters this statement of Raj Dharma, I mean, I hear every anchor on television and everybody talking, you know what? Vajpayee said Raj Dharma. My dear friend, why didn't you do something about it? Point number 2, don't forget what he said in Goa. Besides some very famous crocodile tears that must have had the crocodiles, blush in embarrassment. The truth is that he actually said something to the effect in Goa that all the other religious faith in India should be grateful that they get an opportunity to practice their faith in this country. I think to my mind, these were outrageous statements.
True.
I will tell you, there are some people who, even within my own party, who might have, may have some degree of reason to admire him. But I thought he was the smartest politician. If he had any noble intentions, I don't know much about them. But if he had any, if you give him the benefit of doubt, I think it was RSS that really held him tight.
But tell me, just like 2002 happened, Congress also had a lot of instances. And let's not go into past. Let's say Kokrajhar. By that same logic, shouldn't the Assam Chief Minister, who is a Congress CM for nearly 15 years now, and also Manmohan Singh, who is the Rajya Sabha MP from Assam, be equally to be blamed?
Kunal, can I tell you something? Every time I go on a television debate, the BJP leaders usually say, there were other riots in the country under the Congress government. There is a big difference between a riot that happens on account of an incident, spontaneous, or even if it provoked. But the role of the state, if the state is meant to protect its citizens, whichever religion that you come from.
Yeah.
The role of the
Especially
state,
a secular state
absolutely,
like ours,
secular as defined by constitution, where there is no distinction between majority and minority at all. All religions are meant to be equal. The role of the state has got to be beyond question, beyond dispute. What you found in Gujarat, which as we talk is still a matter which is being debated, Ishwar Jahan, the role of the police, whether it's IB or whether it's the local police of the Gujarat government, that tells you the involvement of the entire apparatus within Gujarat. That hasn't happened with anyone before. And let me use your platform to tell you the 1984 was different. The BJP continuously keeps making this statement about the late Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, saying when a big tree falls, they're so disingenuous and misleading. That statement was made 19 days or 20 days later after the riots were over. The impression being given to the people of India is that statement was made on the same day or a day after Mrs. Gandhi's assassination that led to the riots. It's such a blatant, brazen lie. And that was said in a context which was incredibly different. In fact, if you read the post-Delhi riots, which was unfortunate, reprehensible, nobody's even, it has to be condemned. It's a shame, it's a blot, it's a terrible tragedy. We're not even, that's not something that needs to be expressed. But, the riots came to an end within 3 days. It didn't carry on for weeks. And more important, I think, whether it was an apology, it was given both by the Prime Minister at that time himself, Mrs. Gandhi herself. And I think, there was, a huge degree, it never became, so to say, there were Hindu families that protected the Sikhs. There were stories of that kind. So it really wasn't, in that sense, a communal riot. It was mobsters, it was, all these lumpen elements as we define them, who took over. But, we're not comparing tragedies here. But truly, I thought where Gujarat is the biggest blot is the fact that the state government actually used its machinery, particularly the police, to take inaction, if there's such a term, and allow things to get out of hand.
Somebody like you who enters politics at a certain level in life, it becomes easier, isn't it? The accessibility, let's say somebody who wants to come from, and that's what I think Mr. Gandhi was trying to do with Youth Congress, and he tried to do with Congress Party, but I don't see it happening. But isn't it easy when you belong to a certain strata or you have achieved something in life to sort of approach someone and laterally enter into? In fact, I was just reading this morning in Express that I think some joint secretary or what in NSC quit IAS and joined Congress Party laterally. Isn't that easier when you belong to a certain strata, but when it comes to the ground level politics of bringing up the next generation, and perhaps Congress suffers there mostly?
Well, Kunal, to be very honest, there's no substitute for experience. People like me and many others who are joining laterally. But, the fact of those who have worked at the ground level, who have fought elections, who have campaigned for political leaders, who have traveled the length and breadth of this country, roughed it out during elections, all day, basically done the real slog. I think that's the real political contribution, because you then understand the real challenges. What are the ground realities? What are the issues that move people? What are the issues that affect them? It's not just about counting the votes that you get finally on the ballot box. Now, at every level in politics, you need different kinds of inputs. And I think, but somebody like me, I'm not like a conventional politician. I'm wearing a suit and a tie and discussing a...
I don't know, in Delhi summers, how do you manage
Yeah, well, I'm just so used to it. Yeah, I'm just used to it. So the point I'm going to make is that, end of day, I believe that maybe in certain areas that are my experience over so many years in the corporate world or my management experience, I can bring it and hopefully contribute to the Congress party. So we all have different roles to play. So I may be, well, a politician in that sense, but we bring different kinds of an input. But if you look at the real politician, what I call the dyed-in-wool politician who's been in it as a career from the very beginning, I think hats off to them, because they, I believe, are going to be the change agents of the future. And if people like us can, in our own way, I mean, directly, indirectly, in whichever forum we get an opportunity in the party, make a difference to them and to the party and its ideology, I think we'll have done a good job.
What's wrong with Congress party when it needs to have a spokesperson who is not from the, so to say, the cadre and the core of it? In Congress lately, we have seen you, then we have the Poonawala brothers, others coming out who are not from the
Salman Soz is doing very well.
Soz, yeah. But who are not from the core of the party. Why don't we have a member of parliament or the official spokesperson, except for, I think, Renuka Chaudhary, or now again Mr. Manu Singhvi is back. But why does Congress party suddenly need these, so to say, outsiders, because you're not from that core cadre? Is there something, are the politicians shying away from addressing the media? I mean, of course, I'm not even going into why Mr. Gandhi doesn't address the media or talk more often with media, or Mrs. Gandhi doesn't talk about more often. Prime Minister, he anyways doesn't talk. But why is this, why isn't the party getting people from inside who has spent 10, 15 years to come out and talk? Why does it need a Mr. Poonawala? Why does it need a Mr. Jha, or somebody who, with all good intentions, I'm not sort of doubting intentions, but still you do not have that political grounding in the party with so many years of experience? Why it's happening with Congress party?
In the US, more than the political parties funding their own elections, is there support groups called PACs who actually advertise more on behalf of the Republicans and the Democrats. So for example, if today the Congress or any other political party who has their supporters who are passionate, I believe that, I'm a huge believer in the Congress ideology. I have been a fan of the Congress since the days of, for me, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was the dream prime minister of my generation. I've been a huge fan of, who hasn't been a fan of Mahatma Gandhi or Jawaharlal Nehru? So, we believe in the Congress ethos. Sorry?
Narsimha?
No, I thought this was not supposed to be a political discussion. So the point I'm going to make here, no, I think you got to give him full credit for the liberalization program. So, I mean, end of day, the very critical point is that, I believe in the Congress ethos. I read about the Congress programs. I do extensive research. I think all politicians do that as well. So perhaps if my interest and passion helps me get a good insight into the party, and now the party helps me by also giving me inputs before my programs or suggests to me ways and means of trying to strategize, why not? I think political parties actually need to be more open, more flexible, more transparent. And the fact that somebody like me has joined politics, or the fact that Rahul Gandhi today has opened the doors to people who are not from the political families.
Exactly what,
you see, he's changed the game. And maybe somewhere down the line, people like me have actually come into the party thanks to his open-minded flexibility.
Bringing in non-career politicians and trying to infuse.
As long as, your ideology is similar, you have a passion for it, and you are able to articulate that, why not?
Thanks a lot for talking to us.
Pleasure being with you, Kunal.
Okay. Do pick up his book, The Superstar Syndrome, and you can always watch him on television. And you know his Twitter handle? Jha Sanjay?
Jha Sanjay. And it's 399 rupees, but if you convert it to today's dollar rate, it's quite cheap.
Oh, it's quite cheap. So you can buy it on dollar rate if you have that extra cash. But thanks a lot for talking.
Pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.